Afternoon everybody, welcome to a video that will be a review of my nearly completed kit car. It's a low-cost kit car that I've been basically renovating for the last 2.5 years after it's been on the road for about 10 years. I've done quite a lot of work for it. There's plenty of videos on my YouTube channel describing what I've done. I'm going to turn the camera around in a few seconds and walk you around and give you an update on how the car's going. This will be the first time that anyone really has seen the final colour scheme. Alright, I'll let you take it all in. As many of you will know, I'm already very keen on blues. The original colour scheme was a two-tone blue but in a different orientation. More front to back. As you can see, I've got a diagonal stripe right down there, right way across and vertically down the back end as well. Give a quick walk around. I've literally just chucked a bucket of reasonably clean water over it, so it hasn't had a polish up yet. It's just been quickly wetted and then just dried with a couple of tissues. So what it's taken to get to this stage at the moment, basically I ended up cutting the front of the chassis off and replacing that for various reasons. Changed the engine for me, took it Pinto in ST170 that's already been in a kit car, so it's already been set up for rear wheel drive. Obviously all new engine mounts are made to accommodate that and various other bits and pieces. Reutilised a lot of the original chassis mounting points, put back in place again. Put new say bottom wishbones in, had the rear shocks sent away because they hadn't been off the car for basically over 10 years. The front ones were redone a couple of years ago. Obviously the exhaust is now changed side, so the exhaust came with a bit of a package deal with the engine, and it's now running an ME 221 electronic ignition system. So once the chassis had been redone, I decided I needed to consider how I was going to be doing any painting or preparation of the parts I was making. So I got my powder coating system back up and running, along with a sound media blast that I had working and a bigger compressor, and started doing powder coating lots of the items, including stuff like the bigger stone guards. Now the rear arches have actually been clear vinyl wrapped with obviously this is a very light crinkle finish. The paint job itself has been done by me. It's the first time I've ever painted a car or ever really held a proper spray gun. It's taken an exhaustible amount of hours to get to the situation it is. There was quite a lot of damage to the nose cone. I've replaced all the aluminium panels from front to back just out of sheet. They've all been literally made on the car. Done away with the windscreen, made the roll cage out of sections. It's about 33 pieces, both external and internal tubing. The original hoop here was obviously that is original. That is original. So is the rear stays, but the bolt-on side pieces, the main hoop over the side, and obviously the top rails is all I've made over the last sort of couple of years, including all the bracketry. A couple of friends came around and helped me fit that last weekend. Again, that's been sprayed up with a tough epoxy chassis paint that we've been using for a couple of years to do various stuff on the car like wishbone, so I decided to have a go at spraying it, which has come out quite well, I believe. Eventually, there were a few trials and tribulations. I've put some more LED lights around the car as well. The back of the car at the moment, I've changed, obviously powder coated the original black springs for yellow. Didn't actually get around to doing the front ones. I wasn't quite sure if yellow would go on the car correctly. The original fuel tank's now got a sump in it, so I can now run injection. The actual pump's down here, the filter's nearby as well. Quite a lot of pipe work going to be manipulated and made to feed that correctly. One of the bit of a risky thing I have done is I've actually gone for some different bonnet catches. So these are actually ones where you push them in to release them. So the low profile, there's 5 on the car, obviously front and back, and 1 in the middle here as well. It is a bit of a risk. I really don't know how they're going to perform. They are another pretty good on race cars. I think once they're on, they're okay. They're a little bit tricky to get off. You really got to make sure you don't end up scratching your paintwork, which at the moment I'm quite proud of. So we want to take it easy. I've got another bonnet sprayed exactly the same with the same layer of the paint without the holes in, so I can obviously reutilise that should this one decide to take some flying lessons. Obviously the windscreen's gone, heater's gone, washer system's all gone, and I've replaced it with an aero, which I think is actually off of a GBS aero, because the one I got just kept on cracking, unfortunately. I'm still not really sure, and opinions are obviously appreciated whether or not I should go with the colour scheme across the aero as well. So answers on a postcard. Wheels will come back from refurbishment. I was going to do myself because obviously the powder coating system does work quite well. There was a little bit of damage which I wasn't quite sure if there any buckles in, so they've checked them all out, dipped them, shot blasted them, powder coated them, so they look really, really nice. That's just as they were when they first made. The interior of the car is as yet incomplete. I've basically got the wiring loom hanging down here because I have got some issues that I'm dealing with at the moment. The dashboard's staying the same. Apart from the fact it's now obviously minor heater controls, I'll probably end up putting my sat nav in there, and maybe mount a mobile phone or some sort of music device, and the two-way radios that we use as well. I did actually coat the side panels myself with the clear vinyl, different one to what the professional use for the arches, and it came out okay. Not much harder than sort of doing normal wallpapering really. I've done it in a way that I can actually take it off without having to take the whole panel off and replace it if I have to. The rear arches was incredibly difficult to do, so that was money well spent getting them to do it professionally. I've deliberately had the cage fitted close to the car. I didn't want to end up in a struggle because you can obviously get cages that come right out here and then up, but they find it a little bit awkward to get in and out, so I've gone for one that's a low profile, which will offer a bit more protection in the event that it's needed, but still make it not too hard to get in and out. It's no different to what it normally is, and I'm hoping also that it would give me some sort of protection from the paint splatters. I was going to go for the stone splatters. I was going to go for maybe longer mud guards, but my arches are of the shorter design, so it would be quite a lot of rubber hanging down here to actually do any good. So I'm hoping with the roll cage, the increased height of the stone guard, and the actual film that the paint will last quite well. I'm going to just stop the video for a few seconds, just whiz the bonnet off and just go for a few more things. Right, so with the bonnet safely removed, basically just push the little button in on the bonnet and releases the end, the cap off of the ball. Just lift them out of the way. So the pedal box is the same as it was. I've had to change the master cylinder to basically take it off and take the servo off and put one back in that's designed for a non-servo car. Obviously pin-nose gone, this one's gone in. I've changed the radiator for an alley one rather than the standard sort of car, normal OEM orientated one, try and dissipate heat a bit more. Added a little bit of additional stiffness across the chassis here, and also see it, but I also put two sections of cross pieces in here as well. The wire loom is still a few little bits to be tied up at the moment. Just a couple of spare wires that I've got running front to back. As I said earlier, I'm quite proud of the paint job. It's taken many hours, a few issues that I had to sort out along the way, mainly self-inflicted, to get it as good as it's look. It's not showroom. I've got a few issues. I've had a little piece come off over here, reaction with the actual glue I was using to hold the rubber on, and unfortunately due to the fact that I tried to put the vinyl on the rear arches myself, I put quite a bit of heat into it whilst doing it. When the professional went to do it, it took a little bit of paint off the edge here. He did ring me up about it and say, look, do you want us to start? I said no, crack on, get the covering on, I want to get it sorted out. The aero screen isn't finally fitted yet. I need to just glue the rubber on and screw this down. There's a little bit of an air gap in certain places.